Hello, everyone. I can't see anything. Welcome to Wings, Worms, and Wonder. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I couldn't see anything. Hi, I'm Kelly Johnson, and welcome to the world of Wings, Worms, and Wonder. Today is our last 3 at 3 for the July series. I know it's not really July anymore, but it's August, so still first week of August. It's barely August. And I'm going to be going on vacation for a couple of weeks, and I'm not going to have my Periscope's on Wi-Fi. So I don't know if I'll be able to show up, but I'll do my best. But today is the last definite scope of the series, and it's an exciting one. But just be forewarned, if you hear drums in the background, high school's about to start up and the marching band is practicing. So I don't keep a marching band in my backyard. It is just the high school around the corner. So today, garden friends, we are talking our very favorite and maybe most helpful garden friend, the earthworm. So 3 things about the earthworm, and I am going to do my best here to hold this iPad with my knees and get these, let's see, earthworms in the shot. There's a lot of worms close to my face. So, first things first, let me get a worm for you. Did you know I was going to be bringing real worms today? Okay, real worms. I love gardening too! So, I did a workshop this morning with toddlers on earthworms, so I thought, why not? I have all these night crawlers at my disposal. I'll do a workshop on Periscope on earthworms. So, first things first, how do you tell the head? I'm not going to eat it, although I did like that book, How to Eat Fried Worms, when I was younger. It's really close to my face. It's a frisky one. So how do you tell what is the worm's head and what is the worm's tail? The direction it's moving is its head. But how does the worm move? It doesn't have any legs, we all know. If you can see, this thing is so squirmy. Do you see these little lines? Maybe the highlight. Those are called segments. And earthworms of all types, that end is smiling, yeah. Earthworms of all types are made up of hundreds of segments. And they, like an accordion, they squish and they stretch to help the worm move. So that is, a worm moves like an accordion, but it grabs on, doesn't have a rattler, it's not a snake, it's an earthworm, it's a night crawler. So an earthworm grabs on because on its underside, it has, each segment has 8 little bristly hairs. So if you ever take a worm and you rub its underside, it'll feel like sandpaper. And those are called setae. And they're little bristles that help the worm grab on as it stretches and squishes. Or if you see, like in a cartoon, a robin tugging on the worm out of the wormhole. How is the worm holding on? He's holding on with these setae. So, fact number 1, the head is the direction that it is moving. Fact number 2, a worm moves with its segments by stretching the segments like an accordion, and each segment has 8 bristly hairs called setae on the bottom that help it grab onto things and help it get traction. Now, let me ask you this. How does this worm breathe? There's its face. So, any guesses? Do worms have noses? Tap some hearts if you think worms have noses. Y'all are smart. They don't have noses. Worms breathe through their skin, and that's why worms have to stay wet all the time when they feel slimy, is because that moisture in their skin, they have like a mucus around their skin, and that helps them breathe. If they dry out, they suffocate. So if you see worms on the sidewalk after a rain, get them back into the soil so they don't suffocate. And to those of you just joining us, we're talking earthworms, garden friends. They tunnel through the soil. They create aeration for the garden plant's roots, and they, sorry, these guys, I'm trying to keep these guys from like going off my hands. So they aerate the soil, they make space for the roots, they make little channels where the rainwater will run down into the soil where the roots can drink it up. But they also make castings. You may have bought worm castings. Has anyone ever bought that for their garden as a supplement, or made worm casting tea? Worm castings are just worm poop. So when worms eat leaf debris or the soil from the tunnels that they're burrowing through, that goes through their digestive system and turns into the super nutritious worm casting fertilizer for your garden. All organic, super healthy, and good for the earth. So worm castings, gosh, I think I've gone over more than 3 tips. Segments, setae, worm castings, they breathe through their skin. Oh, this section of the anatomy, do you see that little wider section right here? Maybe sometimes they're a different color. That's called the saddle of the worm, and that's where worms reproduce. Worms, 2 worms join together, and their saddles form a mucousy membrane, and then each worm gets an egg sac. And the egg sac then will slide off the worm's body, lay in the soil for a couple of weeks, and then it will hatch. And it takes worms 6 weeks to fully mature, from hatching to full-grown garden friend. So that is kind of a foray into the fascinating world of earthworms. Those are starting to dry out, so got a new one here for you. Does anyone have any questions about earthworms? These are night crawlers, but good garden, like if you're going to start a wormery, you're going to want to get red wigglers. Those are the best worms for a wormery. I choose night crawlers when I'm working with children, so if any teachers out there that want to do a worm workshop, night crawlers are the most resilient, and they stand up well to little fingers that maybe don't have the best motor control yet. So there's a lot of experiments I have in my book, Wings, Worms, and Wonder, that you can do on worms, with worms, using worms, about worms, research projects with worms for all ages. And they're so fun. And they're really sensorial for the children, which is also great, because the slimy and the wiggly and the dirt, and it gets them out of their comfort zone, you know, gets them touching something maybe they're not allowed to touch at home. So, is there any questions about worms today? Maybe not. Any thoughts? So our 3 tips were: worms breathe through their skin, so make sure they stay moist. If you see them on the sidewalk, put them back in the garden. Their head is the direction that they're moving. Their body is made up of hundreds of segments that work like an accordion, and on each segment there are 8 bristles called setae, which are little bristle hairs that help them get traction and grab onto things. Worm poop is called castings. And my last question is, if a worm, urban legend, garden legend, if a worm splits in half, will it turn into 2 new worms? Tap some hearts if you think yes. Tap some hearts if you think no. The truth is, it will not turn into 2 more worms. The largest part of the broken worm will regenerate into a full worm, but the smaller part of the broken worm will just turn to compost in the garden. So, you know, it's good to know it's not going to totally die, but it's not going to turn into 2 new worms. I have a children's book on earthworms coming out on Starbright Books in spring of 2016 with tons of facts about earthworms, and it's a children's book, but hey, still the same information made in a maybe more fun style, so we can look forward to that coming out. There'll be more details on that. And let's see here, switch to this. Son, sorry guys. You can check out my website, wingswormsandwonder.com. You can find me at Wings, Worms, and Wonder on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I'd be psyched to hear what y'all think about worms over there. Pinterest and Etsy shop. I've got all sorts of new things coming in the shop soon. And my new ebook is already in the shop. Or you can get it for free by subscribing to my newsletter at wingswormsandwonder.com. And welcome to my garden. Thank you so much for spending the last few weeks with me on Periscope for 3 at 3. And I hope to see you back at the end of the month. If you like these garden tips, let me know in a comment on social media or here, and we'll see if we can keep scheduling them. Have a worm-filled day. Bye!